My name is Immortal Technique, and I've been here since the beginning. Instead of strafing away from acknowledging people's civil liberties, I think the United States could pave the way to the evolution of the human race by propagating the idea, which is the truth, that we're all one human race, as opposed to needing a global cataclysm or fucking catastrophe to happen for us to realize that. But I think those are that's for starters, you know. Let's not we can sit here all day and talk about that. I think that the Occupy movement itself caught the interest of so many different people, not just from that left versus right mirage, but also individuals that were not really politically active at all. That the government cares more about corporations than it does about people's lives. The point is that individuals who had a common cause stood together as one. There's a setup, you know what I mean, that there's lawyers involved, hopefully. You know, that's how we're supposed to be organized in order to do it. You know, it's not for someone to be inspired because they saw a protest on TV, put on an Occupy t-shirt and like run out into the street with the lower half of their body naked, screaming about freedom and, you know, knocking people over and acting crazy until they get themselves arrested. There has to be some organization behind all that. So we can use people from all walks of life to help us further a cause that benefits all of us. I think that when you show people that you're willing to lead by example, to say, hey, you know, I used to be in that position of not wanting to ever go to school, of thinking that class was boring, of cutting out, you know. Like if I ever speak to kids, I think what they notice is people's mannerisms. Like a lot of times, I said it on the album, the biggest handicap that intelligent people have is to think that they're smarter than everyone else around them. You know, they're all different types of intelligences. Someone could be incredibly good at math and science, but they're, you know, socially awkward. They have no idea, no social skills, socially inept. Or they put these labels on you. And just because you haven't mastered some skill that they set up in advance for you to prove on some test, that doesn't define you for the rest of your life. You have to define you for the rest of your life. When I was a young kid, I didn't care about any of this. You know, I was a criminal. I didn't really see the purpose of any of it. I think that when I got a little bit older, when I came out of my time being incarcerated, I think my perspective changed when I returned to Latin America and I seen the disparity of wealth and the misery. You know, I began to not only ask questions of the world, but also of myself. You know, what changes did I want to make in the way I was, in the way I am? It's like being a revolutionary. You know, if you want to be an occupier or a revolutionary, that doesn't mean that you're a good person automatically. You could still be a pretentious asshole. You know, you're pushy. You know, you act like a dick to people that don't deserve it. You know, you don't give your loved ones the attention they deserve. I mean, that's always been the Achilles heel of revolutionaries. Someone who comes into someone else's country and says, you know what, I don't give a fuck what you put together here with your little free bullshit election. No one cares either. You're going to sell me your oil rights, or you're going to sell me the rights to your water. That's a gangster, you know. I think in order for me to change and become who I am now, I just had to confront that reality and not become jaded by it. And not think, oh, okay, that's because that's how it is, that's the norm, and that's how it should be, you know.